This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for being here again. It's time to talk about Gate 55. It means we're finally in Pisces season, my season. But before we get into everything about the gate, I just want to remind you that I have a podcast episode guide out. So it's got all 64 of the gates, keywords, and then clickable links to every deep dive episode. So season 2, which we're coming up on the end of. And it takes you right to whatever you need to find, which is amazing. So, and every episode is the gate, the center, the channel it belongs to, the circuitry it's in, and all the details, all of my 4-1 details that I have collected over the years. And yeah, you can get it for free. If you are interested, just leave the podcast Beauty by Design a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Apple's the one that lets you leave the review. And just do that. Send me a screenshot. My email is in the show notes, and that's it. I'll send you over the PDF. And then there will be like a finalized version once we get through Gate 36, because that one will still have season 1 episodes. These final ones are being replaced, with season 2, which is like the really, really deep dive. And then we're about to go into season 3 here soon. I'm really looking forward to it because it's going to be a change and kind of revamping everything and freeing me up to work on my really big project in the background. But I am also working on something really cool right now. It's so funny when you've had something on your to-do list that you want to do, you just haven't had time for it, and starting to actually move and get some momentum on something specific. So I'm hoping to have that done here in the next couple of weeks, and then maybe I'll have a new offer out and available for people. But I'm just playing it loose this year. I'm not holding myself to any like strict deadlines or anything, but as always, just working on some stuff for you. Okay, so of course we've got free guide, free charts on my website, $11 classes, yoga nidras, all the good things. MichaelaMcLean.com. It's all linked. Everything you're going to want to find is in the show notes or my Instagram bio at Michaela McLean. And if you're not already following me over on Instagram, I do suggest checking it out, because pinned to the top of my post each week, it is essentially the guide to using the gate that we're talking about, the gate that the sun is transiting each week, each 6 days, and the tangible pieces of that, how to bring this and work with this energy in your real life, whether it's crystals, oils, tools, practices, frequencies, things like that. So everything I don't include in the podcast is posted about over there. So I say follow along. All right, let's go ahead and get on to the episode. Still dealing with the bronchitis too, so hopefully we can make it through without too many coughing breaks, but we'll see. Reminder, don't try to understand this at the mental level. Let the sound current, the energy, the frequency of beauty sink deep into your cells like good skincare. Okay, so today the sun is fully in Pisces, and we're in Human Design Gate 55, located in the emotional solar plexus. And this is part of individual knowing circuitry. People with individual circuitry have a deep inner knowing that they are here to be true to themselves, which leads to mutation, evolution, and positive change in the world. And the keynote for this circuitry is empowerment. By being your unique, authentic, and differentiated self, you empower others to do the same. And starting with the center itself, the emotional solar plexus, the gates here all revolve around the feels. The ESP for short is both a motor, and the energy that it produces comes in waves, and our center for emotional awareness and intelligence. It governs spirit consciousness, what it truly means for us all to be one. All of the awareness centers carry specific fears and anxieties, nervousness, and the emotional solar plexus is specifically emotional nervousness. And the solar plexus itself is also linked to our nervous system. Okay, so gate 55 is known as abundance. It's the gate of spirit, and this has the fear of emptiness. It's a melancholy that is personal, nervousness arising from not knowing what to be passionate about. And it's not about abundance in the monetary sense or physically possessing things. It's really about feeling into the full spectrum that life has to offer: happy, sad, up, down, pleasure, pain, hope, despair. The low expression of 55 can show up in not honoring the highs and lows associated with this energy. This one needs to be in the mood for people, places, things, forcing yourself to do things that don't feel right to you from moment to moment. It's just not going to be correct, as it is with all individual circuitry. 55 can also numb out these emotions with substances or other crutches. It's also a soap opera, making up a story about it all and then attaching to a story, like why you're feeling low, versus understanding that it's just part of an emotional wave. The fear of emptiness is also around the emotional wave. The dips come and go, the highs and the lows, and it's scary to think you may not come back from your latest low. 55 also has victim mentality in its low expression. Like, where do you feel trapped? In considering where in reality are you actually free? Using pain and stories from the past to keep you stuck right where you are, blaming others or deflecting responsibility. So it's kind of like the low expression of 55 is the cup is half empty, and the high expression is the cup is half full, right? And it depends day to day. Again, this is part of an emotional wave, emotional energy. It's up and down. It just is. This is coming from someone who has their son in a gate that is part of an emotional wave. Okay, like I understand. Oh, goodness. The high expression is leaning into wherever you are in those emotional highs and lows. The most creative periods for this energy are when it feels melancholic. Think of beautiful pieces of music that move you, or a painting that evokes a deep feeling from within it, a book, a movie, anything that you can think of, like a piece of art, dance, stuff that just really makes you feel something. These are all opportunities to deeply connect with and experience others on that spirit consciousness level. Spirit, God, the universe, the divine is the source of all abundance. My daughter has this gate. And it's so sweet. She's in total awe and appreciation at the beauty of life. A tree, a leaf, a flower, the way the snow sparkles. So my kids went to a hippie preschool, like the Waldorf style, all outdoors, all of that. And the teachers would tell us, things that she said. She's a magical creature, like for sure. And some of the things she said back then, they would be dancing to music with scarves. And she was like, "Oh, the song is like butterflies kissing my cheeks." And you're making she loves fruit, making a bowl of fruit. And she's like, "Oh, what a gorgeous blueberry." Like seeing her appreciate all the little things in life is what it's all about for me. It's like it's pure magic. I don't have 55, and so to witness other people who really are in awe and have that like childlike wonder about things is so beautiful. Like truly this appreciation for the fullness of life, from the smallest things to the largest. So it's amazing to experience life through this lens, to have a child and get to see it that way. Like she sees the interconnectedness of everything. And this connection to spirit is like Ram Dass says, one of his famous lines, that we're all God in drag. We're all the divine experiencing itself 8+ billion, whatever we're at now, different ways. Like divinity is having its own experience through each one of us and getting to experience what life is about. And so with 55, it really to me is like this is that Aquarian age thing. We're being celebrated for being individuals. We're all one family. We're all the same, and yet we're all so vastly different because we're all just like, a spark, a fragment of the divine. That's really like the same source. We're just like the individual expression of it. So this is very 55 is like free to be you and me, and through that awareness, liberating yourself from any perceived shackles. In the gene keys, the shadow of this one is victimization. So it's complaining and blaming. The gift is freedom, and the city is also freedom. This is the one and only of the 64 gene keys that the gift and the city are the same. And in the gene keys, like he says, 55 is the heart of the gene keys transmission. And 55 really describes the evolutionary force, like moving from matter to spirit. So there's so much that goes into this gate. This is a very, very special gate. It's the star player in our collective evolution, where we're going in the future. The solar plexus basically evolving from, just a motor into spirit consciousness. So it's interesting because this is about being our own worst enemies and moving from blame to taking full responsibility for ourselves. And over time, Richard Rudd says higher consciousness is literally going to breed victim mentality consciousness out of humanity. So, one of the things he also says, a direct quote from him, is that the 55th gene key is obviously unique. Out of all 64 keys, it's the only one that has the two words, victimization and freedom. There always has to be a joker in every pack. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting to understand. He says, every gene key we enter, we are also entering the 55th. The theme is universal and underpins all others. All shadow states are victim states. Whenever you contemplate the shadow gene keys, always contemplate where the victim is hiding. It's all a state of being. Victimization is nothing more than a frequency. Like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so basically, to go on and paraphrase what he's talking about in the 55th key, it's like it's a transformative journey through this gene key, through this gate, transcending the shackles of victimization to the boundlessness expanse of freedom. And this gene key delves deep into the essence of freedom and the inherent human longing for liberation. It's rooted in the shadow of external validation and grapples with the fundamental question of identity and the incessant need to validate our existence through suffering. And amongst like ego entanglement here lies the profound realization that true freedom can only be attained through surrender and unlearning. And 55 really invites us to shed the layers of illusion and embrace the purity of our being, discarding the burdens of agendas and expectations. The path to freedom is paved with introspection and inquiry, where we navigate the labyrinth of our own consciousness, confronting the shadows that obscure our innate light. And ultimately, freedom is not a destination to be chased, but a state of being to be embodied, where we simply allow ourselves to be. Okay, so my notes here, this is part of an individually emotionally projected channel. So projector rules apply, seen, recognized, and invited. And this channel is one of the spiky waves, the very sharp up and down. So individual moodiness and melancholy, right? If it's individual, it's going to be prone to melancholy, prone to sadness, prone to depression. This is feeling the feels and channeling them into something like dance, self-expression, some form of art, music, not forcing yourself to be social when you're not feeling it. That's a really important thing. It's like, just stay in and go be with your art. Also, this being individual, it's highly acoustic. Music is so important here. And again, like dancing it out, writing song lyrics, anything that you're, again, able to channel this, just the feels. Channel the feels into art is what is happening in this gate, in this channel. And again, with the gene keys, like the fact that the background frequency or the root of all of the 64 shadows is essentially this. It's like wherever we're blaming or complaining in our lives, it's like wherever we're giving outside forces control over us is where we are giving our personal power away. Okay, so this is, like I said, it's part of an emotional wave, and this is the individual passion wave. This is the classic, like, kind of mood swingy, the up and down spikes. So it can cruise along just fine, all even keel, and then it's like, boom, it has a blip. It's like, woo, we went up really high or we went really low. Um, Again, melancholic, moody. It needs to know when to be alone with the muse creating and when it can be creatively expressing its moods and emotions to others, when it is safe to be around people. And then, as far as the fears of the emotional solar plexus, these fears are operating in various waves, again, depending on the stream that they belong to. So, right here, we're talking about individual. And again, when you're riding high, may not be an issue, but when you go low, you dip, you crash, it's like, oof, they're back with a vengeance. And since this is part of the emotional wave, these are feelings that can't be trusted in the present moment, unlike, say, the sacral, the spleen. However, over the long haul, this is the stuff that you very well can trust the most, essentially. Again, it's like waiting this energy out, you know? Okay. So the programming partner here, meaning if the sun is in Pisces and 55, the earth is automatically opposite in Virgo, gate 59. And 59 is known as dispersion. It's the gate of sexuality. And this is one of the creative channels in human design, specifically the creation of life. Like it's about making babies. And the keynote with this one is the sexual energy to bond with a mate. It's the energy of creation to bond with others, to build partnerships. So the low for this one is it comes from tribal defense. It just wants to mate for the sake of keeping the species going. And that can either be intrusive or it can isolate. It can push itself upon another or jump into anything without waiting. And that's really important because, again, part of an emotional wave here. It can have superficial relationships or be emotionally dishonest with themselves or with others. But the high energy, the high expression of 59 is it's pure life force. It's Oha in Sanskrit. A gate 59 person is someone with the natural power to break through the aura of others to create close, intense bonds. It's someone who has the urge to merge with the energy of another, and it's based on physical intimacy. So, in its high, right, it's very warm, very caring. It's coming off the sacral where new life is literally made. And it's on that yin or more feminine side of the chart. So it's going to feel like an energetic hug. And it's intensified by being close to people, touch, taste, smell, the senses that you need to be in close physical proximity to another to experience. And this is also like the art of seduction. It's divine union. Okay. And then the gate that completes the channel is Cancer gate 39, forming the channel of emoting. And 39 is known as obstruction. It's the gate of provocation. This is the pressure to find the passion and spirit in life, the pressure to emote. So this gate is about pushing, poking, prodding others. It can be fun and gentle or forceful. The energy of 39 helps encourage others to feel and awaken their connection with spirit. This is a funny one in that it's someone who pokes people, right? They just are natural provokers with their aura simply by existing. This is actually how somebody with 39 would know who is correct for them and who isn't. If they can't stand you and you're provoking, you are not an energetic match. 39 can also be attention seeking, like who's going to take the bait that I've set out. Again, this energy is moody and melancholic. Not only is it watery Cancer, but again, it's part of the channel of emoting. So basically, this energy is looking for some type of emotional release and it's pushing others, it's poking them to feel more, to feel deeper. So 39 is the adrenalized pressure of the root center attempting to liberate and free the intense emotions of the solar plexus, of what's happening in gate 55. So when the two come together to form the channel of emoting, it's about poking and provoking others to feel deeply, to emote, to get them in touch with their feelings. The pressure starts in the root center down in 39 and reaches up towards 55 in the solar plexus, looking for that emotional release. It's looking for an outlet. And in that case, 39 by itself, there's no outlet for the emotions. And so when it's on its own, it can manifest as like excessive behaviors, from anything from like overeating, substance abuse, shopping addiction. Just again, it's 39 can just be trying to fill some sort of an emotional void that all the things in the world are not going to help with, right? But this energy, the channel itself, it has such a beautiful potential. It's so incredibly creative coming from this emotional side of individual circuitry. This is so much about learning to love and embrace the highs and the lows of life, understanding that it makes things interesting, that it's where creativity comes from, and learning to harness that versus being sucked into self-destructive tendencies. And I want to add that Gate 55 is a key player in our collective evolution. There is a major shift in consciousness coming, and we're going to enter into this new era. It's the cross of the sleeping phoenix coming in 2027, which is going to be, us moving into spirit awareness, understanding that oneness element. So, this mutation, kind of spearheaded by Gate 55, is giving all of us this power, to understand that we are beautiful, unique individuals who are our own authorities, and still recognize that we are part of the whole. We're part of the fabric of the universe. So that's what's really cool. Again, this is so important. Human design is the science of differentiation, meaning we are all so unique and specific. There's no two of us that are exactly alike. The chart is so intricate. Um, there's so much to dig into. And you really, when you learn about yourself, but then you begin to learn about other people, you're like, wow, I have so much appreciation and compassion for other people. Even their shadows, my own shadows, when I understand this stuff. This time period will be really important as we move into 2027. Basically, human design has become so important because this is helping us all understand our uniqueness and that we are our own authorities. We don't need to look outside to other people to tell us what to do. We don't need influencers. We just don't need that. We don't need other people basically trying to tell us where they've been and what they've done when our experiences are so unique to ourselves. And it's not that you can't learn from other people for sure, but at the end of the day, there's only one you. And human design is helping us learn how to be the best us that we can be and live as, basically as embodied in your design and especially in the high expression of your design as possible. Very much about self-love. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, astrologically, this channel would be a Pisces and Cancer trine aspect. So, two water signs, a harmonious and flowing energy between that element. But also it's water and it's emotional. So, like lots of tears, probably. Lots of emotions here, lots and lots of them. 55 is occurring in the first quarter of the wheel. That is the quarter of initiation, purpose fulfilled through the mind. So, getting your mind to be a witness to all of the abundance and beauty of life and not get lost in the stories that you tell yourself as to why. Yeah, when you're an emotional authority, if you have this full channel or any of the emotional waves, it's just always be aware when you're trying to basically make up a reason as to why you're feeling down. Usually most people aren't looking for a reason why they're up, but maybe that too, but you're like, you ride a wave. And for the rest of us, the non-emotionals like myself, I don't have emotional authority, and yet I have a lot of emotional gates in my chart active. It's more like, who have I been around? Where am I picking this energy up if I'm feeling off, right? Planning an episode here in the future for an emo, non-emo deep dive to really get into this topic. So watch this space. So I just, again, an extra little note on the notes. This is a very artistic placement. So there are definitely people in my life that have these gates. I don't have either one. I don't have the 55 or the 39, but lots of people in my life do, and including the emotional wave. But it's so artistic. It's such a cool energy. It is very up and down for sure. my good friend, Mackenzie, Kenzie Skin, she is a Pisces Sun in 55. She has the whole channel and singer-songwriter. And one of my favorite musicians, like Morrissey, as in the Smiths, he has the full channel. So he's an emotional authority, and you're like, wow, you just see this, all of the lyrics, all of the music. Oh my goodness. You're like, yeah, provoking people to feel something, and Johnny Marr's beautiful music and everything. Like, wow. I just love to think of certain people and then look up charts, and you're like, yeah, there it is. It's right there. It's like just so accurate. Okay. So remember to check your chart. Do you have this gate? We're looking at the solar plexus. This is on the right-hand side, the triangle aiming inward. 55 is going to be in the middle on the bottom side, aiming down to the root to 39. So if you have it colored in black, red, or red and black, you have 55 in your chart somewhere, and maybe it's white. Look to the other side, look to the 39. Is that colored in? If so, you'd get the full channel for approximately 6 days. And again, maybe you're like me, you don't have any part of it. Well, guess what? We're experiencing this through people in our lives, right? Like I just said, it's like, oh, when I listen to the Smiths, I'm experiencing the channel of emoting. Yeah, I experience this through people in my lives, and we all experience it through the transits. Okay. So we get to understand the flavor of this, and not only understand ourselves. If again, we're going through the emotional solar plexus time period of the year, if you're feeling really emo, you're like, oh, okay. Like you begin to understand how this is impacting us, and understand and have compassion for other people in our lives. And I was always am like, it's not an excuse, it's an explanation. We are able to just comprehend better when we get this. Okay, so of course, I'll be back soon with more. I would love it if you would leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple. It just helps it get out to more people. And again, send me a screenshot to my email linked in the show notes, and I will get you over a podcast gate guide. And if you want to learn more human design, of course, follow me on Instagram at Michaela McLean. I share all the weekly tips. You can get the free charts, free guide, $11 classes, yoga nidras, and more things coming at my website, michaelamclean.com. Again, all relevant links are going to be in the show notes for you. And of course, until next time, have a beautiful day.